You know, I've never seen a hobby or an industry be this absolutely tone deaf in my entire life. The massive amount of buying power that we have as consumers in video games is astronomical. We can literally dictate whether or not a company will fail or succeed, whether a studio will close down or make a sequel. And at the same time, all of these companies treat us like cattle being led to the slaughter, and it's absolutely absurd to see it. And the crazier part is the people who in fact defend this kind of practice in the first place, being nothing more than major corporate bootlickers and trying to defend companies and corporations across every single turn, even though they are the exact consumers being taken advantage of by those corporations that they're trying to defend. And honestly, to me, it gets to a point where enough is enough. And clearly, these game companies haven't figured this out yet. Because what we're going to talk about today is how PlayStation and both Nintendo could be seeing even more price increases, not just in hardware, but also in software and even on their services as well. All because of investor pressure. And that is the most insane thing about all of this. But to add insult to injury on what these companies want to do to your wallet and even the hobby that you care about is the fact that they still don't understand who actually buys the video games and at what prices. And clearly, these two companies still haven't figured out a damn thing. Because according to VGC, 62% of hardcore players no longer buy full-priced games, according to a new survey by IGN, Kantar, and UC Berkeley. 38% of millennials aged 30 to 44 and 42% of Gen Z 14 to 29 said they still buy full-priced games, compared to just 20% of Gen X 46 to 61. We are now living in an actual space where 62% of millennials, the people right now that have the most buying power in this hobby, they're the ones saying, I am not going to buy a full-priced game. I'm going to go ahead and wait for a sale. I've got plenty in my backlog. I've got a ton of retro games. I can sit here and I can wait for this game to go on sale to a more affordable price. And what's really forcing this as well is the massive amount of digital distribution that's been happening in the gaming industry. Companies like Nintendo forcing game key cards where you don't actually own the game. It's digitally downloaded onto your system, but the card itself is in fact the key to access the title, basically just adding a layer of DRM. PlayStation adding their own layer of DRM as well for a 14-day online check, even though you've already bought that game on top of it. And at the same time, still charging you more money for those digital games on top of it, even though there's no physical copy, no disc, it's all online. You have DRM, and you don't have any true ownership of the game you're buying just because you're in that specific storefront. As an elder millennial, or as what the kids would call an elder emo unk, yeah, we're big fans of Taking Back Sunday and Alkaline Trio around here. Get it right. I definitely fall into this exact same kind of category. I don't see a lot of value in purchasing a lot of newer games day one at their full purchase price, especially when the games don't work. There are major patches for bug fixes day one and everything else that comes in between, and it can get incredibly annoying. And that's why for me, buying a game day one at full price is an incredibly rare occasion. But the thing is though, there's more to this article and how it combines with PlayStation and Nintendo. So let's go check it out. According to VGC's article, it says this. Commenting on the report, the game business's Christopher Dring said it reflected a market where consumers have more than ever to play and less demand to rush out to buy new releases that could also be unpolished at launch. The market shifted, he told VGC. Consumers are full in terms of things to play, watch, and read. Plus, games have a habit of launching unfinished or in need of a patch or two. So considering those two factors, the drive to rush out day one and purchase a game isn't there in the way it used to be. The upside is that games are living for longer, and it's not unusual for big games to sell for years and decades. I mean, I hate to say it, but Christopher Dring is actually correct. When you look at so many games that are launching right now, how many of them literally had massive gigabyte day one patches for you to even play the game in the first place? Accounts like Does It Play literally test to make sure the game is on the disc. And even then, once you have it there, you still have to download all the patches simply because it took everything else to even get the game out in the first place. And then they want to charge you $70 to $80 and then make you pay for all that and then give you DRM and then make things more difficult for you as well? Absolutely not. And when you look at the snail's pace of updates that happen to games, it's incredibly concerning. Look at the update schedule between something like Crimson Desert and Starfield. It took Starfield multiple years to get where it is right now, yet Crimson Desert, in less than a month, has had more updates and more patches than anybody could have ever imagined, completely changing the game and fixing it across so many landscapes. And even then, a lot of people are stopping and saying, you know what, I'll wait till the updates are done for Crimson Desert to go back and play it again or even pick it up, because that game is changing rapidly all the time. And I think that's what people are really concerned about. I've literally stopped playing games because of updates happening to a video game that have changed it completely, that would have given me a better experience overall, because either the publisher or the developer wanted to push a game out quick to make those fast sales and then dump everything on the back end. And people are in fact getting sick of it. Hell, even Nintendo figured this out as well. Because according to GameSpot, Nintendo's reason for no discounts is that it ships, quote, complete games, former president says. With Reggie Fils-Aimé in the article saying this, quote, "The Nintendo mentality is we're shipping a game complete," Fils-Aimé said in an NYU Game Center lecture. "It's ready to play. There's no day one update that's going to take 3 hours, and part of it is that it's a different mentality. That is their Nintendo's thinking. I liken this to the idea of Kyoto craftsmanship. The company is headquartered in Kyoto, a city known for its fine craftsmanship, linen, china, pottery. That is Kyoto. I'm convinced that Nintendo as a company has that same type of mentality. We are going to build the best games. We're going to send them out feature complete, and as a result, this is where sometimes customers push back. We don't discount our games." And look, I get it, right? Having good craftsmanship in a video game, releasing that game feature complete on day one is an excellent strategy. However, what we're also looking at right now is the fact that so many games are available to consumers, and even then, at a better price overall. Nintendo should in fact be looking at trying to discount their games to move more sales and units, because a lot of people simply just can't afford what's going on. After massive price increases across both Nintendo and even PlayStation, games getting more expensive, online services increasing, we're watching as many companies right now are going around and jacking up the price, giving you less, and at the same time complaining that they're not making enough money for their shareholders. And things are going to go from bad to worse, because even though we're watching as a massive majority of people in the gaming space right now, the ones that have the buying power are saying no to buying full-priced games unless they're feature complete, unless they come on the cart, or unless you're a total fanboy for the company. You're watching as the industry itself is trying to figure out what to do next, all at the same time getting sued and having investor pressure. More lawsuits are coming, folks, and it's not going to be good for anyone. According to the game business, could a $2.6 billion UK lawsuit force PlayStation to lower its 30% commission fee? The class action lawsuit ends this Friday. And I know what you're thinking, Alex, wait, 30% commission for games being sold? This sounds incredibly familiar. And honestly, that's because it is familiar to you. It's the exact same kind of lawsuit being levied at Valve from Vicky Shotbolt, claiming that game developers and publishers and storefronts like Valve are charging too much money in commission for games being sold on their platform, meaning that if they were to reduce that commission price structure, they would go ahead and be able to actually sell games at a cheaper price. And we all know the truth, right? We know that's not going to happen ever at all whatsoever. If the commission structure gets lowered from 30%, then basically what's going to happen is they're going to be placing that price onto you as a customer instead. Get ready for even more price increases because of this. And simply because the standard in the industry has always been 30% across the board. Valve themselves even stated that if your game sells X amount of units above what their actual threshold is, they would lower the commission amount amount depending upon each threshold hit, giving you more money on the back end. Yet for some reason, we still don't see a lot of those same publishers reduce the actual price of their games. Instead, they take the Nintendo playbook and charge everybody the same amount. Or if a discount even does apply, then it's something paltry, 10 to 15%, 20 to 30% off. And that's really where things go. But it looks like PlayStation might have got their hand caught in the cookie jar, and this one could be a bigger issue than they actually expect. With the article saying this, the lawsuit was brought about by Alex Neil, who is representing consumers that purchased PlayStation digital content between August 2016 and February 2026. The action accuses PlayStation of having a, quote, near monopoly on digital games and add-on content on PlayStation platforms. The case asserts that Sony sets strict terms and conditions on developers and charges a 30% commission on every purchase, which results in, quote, excessive and unfair prices. It claims the prices are out of proportion to the cost. Sony's counter-argument is that there is sufficient competition against its store and platform, and that the fees it charges developers allows it to sell hardware at a lower price to consumers. Hold on. Wait a second. Hold on. I'm going to have to bust some lies around here because clearly you can't trust any of these companies at all whatsoever. PlayStation is notorious for not letting any other storefront sell its digital keys. In fact, if you go on any other key website like CD Keys, Greenman Gaming, or etc., the only games you're going to be able to find are games that came as a pack-in for the PS5 console, whether it's the Pro, the regular, the Slim, or what have you. Those are the only games you're going to be seeing available as a ways to purchase outside of PlayStation's own ecosystem. On top of that, PlayStation hasn't been really the best in their own storefront, and I think this is where this lawsuit is in fact not pulling the right punch. What we're looking at right now is them targeting PlayStation's 30% commission cut. Yeah, okay, sure. That sounds really close to what Epic has been doing with Steam and Valve. Kind of weird when you think about it. A lot of lawsuits that happen between Apple, Google, and Epic, and now Valve, all talking about the commission structure and not about the real problem that PlayStation is in fact doing. You know, the variable rate pricing that is literally coercing people into paying more for their video games that are on a discount depending upon the kind of profile they have logged into, where so many people have been in fact proven to go through and say, hey, look, here's a discounted price that I see online. When I sign in, the price is no longer discounted to what it was supposed to be. It increased in price because they marked you as a consumer that would spend more money on their platform. The lawsuit argues that for owners of PlayStation 5, the only place they can buy digital video games is via the PlayStation Store. The counter to this argument is that most of the bigger PS5 games are still available via physical retailers, and PlayStation does have competitors in the digital space via other platforms. For instance, EA Sports FC 26, last year's best-selling UK video game, is available to buy via physical retailers and digital Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, and PC stores, plus streaming services. PlayStation would argue that this competition keeps the company honest, because if it charged more than its rivals, it would potentially lose customers to their other platforms and stores. If PlayStation loses, will this result in cheaper games? Alongside a financial payment for PlayStation users, the company may, if regulatory scrutiny follows, be forced to change the fees it charges developers. This theoretically could result in developers and publishers reducing the price of their games. If PlayStation sees its margins erode on the software side, it could choose to increase the price of consoles instead. After recent price increases caused by a worldwide shortage in RAM, this would be a tough pill to swallow for PlayStation. So there we see the actual ticket of what Christopher Drink thinks is going to happen. If PlayStation does lose this case and they have to reduce their margins, they're going to be putting that increase of cost somewhere else, and it's going to be on you as a customer and consumer. Would they increase the price of consoles? Absolutely they would. They did it to their refurbished consoles. They're going to do it again to their main ones as well, because they do not want to have any sort of cost being afflicted back to them, and they're going to push you as a customer every time to pay more. And hell, even Nintendo says they're not going to lower the prices of games, period. But Nintendo may also be in for a world of hurt too, because clearly things aren't going the way they planned. Because according to Insider Gaming, Nintendo is being pressured to raise Switch 2 prices. with the article saying this. In a new report from Bloomberg, investors in the company are worried that the latest Nintendo console is, quote, deeply unprofitable. This comes while global component prices continue to rise due to AI and data centers. It's also despite the fact that the Switch 2 is selling faster than not only the original version, but, quote, any other home games machine in history. Over the last 6 months, Nintendo stock prices have fallen 45%. Stock prices rose quickly around the launch of the Switch 2, but have fallen back down to around the mean that they had been for the last 5 years. There's a worry from investors that the rising costs will simply cut into profits. Mind you, the Switch 2 has sold over 17 million units as of December 31st, 2025, and the company reported a year-over-year net profit increase of 51.3% year-over-year. Has it sunk in yet? Have you figured it out yet? Because clearly, so many of these companies have not picked up what we're putting down. People do not want to spend more money on games. They don't want to spend more money on their consoles. And at the same time, all these companies are doing is trying to get into your wallet in every single aspect. We're watching in real time as Nintendo has sold over 17 million units, how PlayStation is getting even closer to that $100 million console unit sold mark. And then all the while, Nintendo saying, oh, you know what, we're gonna discount the digital games but keep the physical ones at $70. Gee, I wonder why. It's because they can control the storefront. And then PlayStation acting the exact same way. You want to buy a game on a discount key site? I don't think so, buddy. Only on our storefront, but don't forget variable rate pricing. Give us 100% of all that money so we can only get 30% to everybody else. That's what they're trying to do. And it makes me incredibly angry every single time how these companies try to get into your wallet, how they screw you over and over again, give you broken, unfinished, buggy games on launch, or at the same time, 6 years later, never actually discount the fucking game, and then tell you to your face, by the way, it's got the seal of quality, you should buy it full price anyways. And it's going to get even worse because clearly, I think what's happening right now is we're seeing a massive backlash to the entire thing. Every single company is looking at each other, thinking about who's going to raise the price first. And when Nintendo dropped an $80 video game, everybody else was ready to follow the ball with it. Xbox was ready. PlayStation was ready. Everybody was looking at it and saying, you know what, $80? That's going to be the ticket, my boys. Now we're moving it up once more. From $50 to 60, 60 to 70, that wasn't enough, 70 to 80. And then every clown defending them because of inflation. Even though they're making profit hand over fist, their stock prices are going up. It's not just high enough for what their investors want to see. And that's the scarier part about all of this. We're playing a losing game where these companies think that you're more beholden to their product than they are beholden to you. And the thing is, it's a two-way street. Because even looking at the AA space and the indie space, especially on Steam and PC, you can see that there's so much opportunity for good, affordable games that everybody can enjoy across their platform. Whether they're sold on key sites, whether they're sold on Steam directly, everybody has the opportunity to enjoy a video game at a better price. The thing is, though, these guys don't want that at all. What they want is complete control over you, your spending habits, your buying power, and squeezing every red cent out of your back fucking pocket. With the article continuing by saying this, the idea of a price increase for the Switch 2 isn't new. Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa has recently said that the company will, quote, carefully consider the matter while taking a comprehensive look at the state of adoption of the platform, current sales trends, cost profitability, market environment, and other factors. That said, Nintendo doesn't think that the increase in component and production costs will have a major impact on its financial performance. That belief will be put to the test when Nintendo announces its year-end earnings for fiscal year 2026. It's expected that Furukawa will be asked to address pricing for the console and whether anything has changed. If you're still sitting here thinking that Nintendo is not going to increase the price of the Switch 2, honey, you've got a big storm coming. This is the same company that increased the price of games to $80. The same company that increased the price of all their peripherals and the previous Switch 1 generation, another price increase as well. They are doing everything they can to make sure they can squeeze out enough money. And Furukawa even admitted to your face in that statement that, hey, even if they were to increase the price, they wouldn't see a reduction in profit. Boom! You know it, I know it, they know it, Everybody knows it. Don't give them what they want, because the thing is, they're betting on you being unable to buckle. They're betting on you being unable to control your own emotions. The fear of missing out is massive in their own minds, and they think they can control you with those simple purchases. Simply give them what they don't want. Take your wallet and shut it. Keep it closed tight until something at least goes on sale, until prices dip back down to where they're supposed to, because they're betting you don't have the impulse control to make that decision. What these companies are doing is working in collusion. They're raising the floor, pushing people out of the gaming industry, and only wanting to keep the whales, and they're going to do it by hook or by crook. Whatever lawsuit comes their way, they're going to meander their way around it. Whatever comes up their way about trying to increase the actual stock price, they're going to figure out a way to slime ball their way through it. And the only person paying in the end is going to be you and me. Well, not me anymore. I ain't buying shit from these companies. But I think it's also why so many people are looking at things like Emulation, like the Steam machine, and everything else coming down the pipe, especially from Valve. Why would anybody want to sit there and pay Nintendo $70 to $80 for a video game when they can emulate it on their system? And it's exactly what we're looking at, and why Nintendo is so terrified of emulation. Why would anybody want to go around and spend all that extra money on a piece of hardware when they can play the game on their PC, literally getting kicked out of the actual PSN and not having to pay for online either, which is exactly why that rumor came around of Sony pulling the games off of the PC platform. They're scared of competition. They want an oligopoly. These companies want to control everything, and what they're really not looking at is the fact when other competitors enter into this space, they're not ready to compete at all. They can't compete with refund policies. They can't compete with game service. They can't compete with anything when it comes to what Valve is doing in this space right now. The problem is these companies like Nintendo and PlayStation are learning this lesson way too late in their life cycle. And that's going to be a bigger burden for you and for them, and to make things even worse for the industry overall. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys got to say about this in the comments section down below. Are you expecting a price increase for the Nintendo Switch 2, or even having another price increase for services on your PlayStation 5 and PS5 Pro? Or are you just going to say, fuck the entire thing, get yourself a Steam machine regardless of the price, and leave all that garbage behind? I want to hear what you guys got to say. And speaking about what you got to say, here's the comment of the day from yesterday's video, with Escanor Flex saying this: any changes made with what's good for the consumer is good and welcomed. And Escanor, I think you're totally right. The big problem, though, is the fact that companies have to be pushed to a specific breaking point in order for them to finally think about the consumer in the first place, when in reality, that should have been the thought from the very beginning. Treat your customers right, and they'll give you more money. It's almost like being pro-consumer is the best way to keep those customers and to make more money and have customers want to give you more of that money. Really weird how that kind of works and fits out now, doesn't it? Who would have thought? Imagine my shock. But as always, if you want to see more of this kind of content, though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and live streams, subscribe to the channel. If you want Discord access or most of those live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. Look, if you don't want to spend the buck, don't even sweat it. Just come on down to the live stream Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel, as I wear a banana suit and get insulted with text-to-speech. It's actually pretty insane. Very similar to Sábado Gigante if you're a Latino. Yes, I'm Cuban. It kind of works out that way. Explains a lot about the hand motions and the loud voice too, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. It all fits together now. So don't forget, Saturday nights live, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on the channel. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. And if you want to see even more of me, check out @OhNoIt'sAlexGaming. I will be streaming there daily for a few hours every day, playing some games, hanging out with you guys, the best community on YouTube, and also uploading videos every single Monday. Check out the news video I put out recently, talking about PC specs and the damage Unreal Engine is doing to the gaming industry. It's actually pretty good, but I'm a little biased. I'm just saying. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!